All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Kiki Does the Candidates. This week on episode number 3, we have Team Reilly. He looks a little lonely though, it's just one of him. But he is the leader of Team Reilly, so I guess leader is the leader, right? So we'll hear what he got to say. I'm very excited. Let's take it away. Hello, Neil.
Hello, Kiki. How are you?
I am very well. Oh, I like the way you try to do my accent there. You did very good. You know, my accent is very, very hard to do, Neil.
I know. I've been studying Kazadorian, and some of the pronunciation of some of the words has just got me baffled. I can't do it.
So, Neil, you got a rocket ship on your T-shirt.
That's right.
Tell me about the rocket ship. What it's standing for? Are you going to space? Are you like, what's his name, Branson, and what's the other one, Amazon dude?
No.
Thank God.
Our budget just is not as great as theirs. We're a much more humble budget. But our ideas are to sort of shoot for the stars. The idea is that we're going to hopefully get enough people elected to launch a better council.
Launch.
Yeah, you see? Launch.
Oh, that's why the rocket.
Yeah.
So you're going to launch something.
Yeah.
I like it.
I wouldn't mind the rocket back in the playground.
Oh, yes. Well, see, I never was seeing this. It was before my time here. You know, I'm lucky enough to be the refugee representative of Kiama.
And young.
Yes, and young. That's true. Thank you. Oh, it's so cute.
Beautiful.
Stop it. You know I'm not allowed to vote. You're wasting your time.
Oh dear.
So you're hoping to bring back the rocket ship, really?
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 It's one of those things where I think that children's playgrounds need to be not dangerous but adventurous. And I think if you came down from Mars and you didn't know anything about Australian kids or kids in general,
Yeah.
you would say, oh yes, well I guess from everything that I've seen they like primary colours and plastic.
And soft landings.
Soft landing and spongy surfaces. So what we want to do with the rocket is to create a few challenges and let kids be kids.
like it.
The other thing is, I think with kids, they're kind of, if you have a look around, there's walls and there's fences and there's places that they can go and places that they can't go. I think a little bit more adventure would help with their development.
So too. And will this rocket shoot them somewhere? Like, I mean, not in the head. I mean, like, you know, upwards.
Actually, when you say in the head, it will help them with their imagination.
Yes.
Help with their imagination. I mean, a duck on a spring that goes like that's not going to help you with your imagination.
I don't know. Makes you look like, you know, you're thinking about your problems.
There've been council meetings where I've come back and I've rocked.
Also, it's out there in the public, right? The council chamber.
Absolutely.
You can watch it. I have to ask. Do many people actually use that? Do they watch it? Is there many people who
we've got a
sit and watch
particular-
this?
A particular demographic in this area, and a lot of people have a lot of trouble sleeping. Turn on the council, and off they go into the land of Nod.
Now we jest, but you know what happens in that room is quite important. Now, obviously, one of the things what you have as I would say probably an advantage in my world we call it your performing enhancing attribute, your P. My performance enhancing attribute is obviously my beauty and my accent and my fashion sense, of course.
Of course.
But so you know, I think what happens in there is actually very, very important, isn't it? And
The only time that you are really and truly a councillor is in that chamber and when you vote, and you make determinations on different issues and different subjects, and when you make that determination, the next day, often the next day, people's lives are changed.
That's true.
We hope for the better.
yeah, that's a lot of P for power, isn't it? There.
Well, it's not so much it's not so much power because there are 9 people and you have to be able to work collaboratively. I hate the news when you see this antagonistic your side or my side and it's A against B all the time. In council, it's not like that. You have to work collaboratively with 8 other people, and it means that you've got to give a little bit. You've got to you've got to get a little bit.
Yes.
It
You
works
get a
well.
little bit.
Well,
I didn't know it was that raunchy in there. That's nice.
It certainly is not.
So I go back to the P for a minute. So then perhaps your P is really that you already know what council is in some senses too. Like you're not green, not as in environmental, but you're not new to this process either. How does that help you be able to launch yourself even better?
Launch myself. I like that. Look, I've been a councillor now for 3 terms. The last one a long term.
Yes.
And I came to it and I was in absolute shock. I was like a cuckoo in some other bird's nest. It was like everyone spoke a different language. It was like I felt very much on the outer of things. It happened that even in the last 5 years, most other councillors had the backing of a political party, and I mean that takes a lot of the worry from you with regards to money and support. And usually that support comes in volunteers on election day and so on. But you've also got a team that you can look to help. I was an individual and I had really none of that. However, I've worked it out that if you can understand people and understand their points of view, if you can put yourself in their shoes, so to speak, you can get a better appreciation of where they're coming from, and hopefully they'll get a better impression of where you're coming from. So if you can have the opportunity to explain, this is why I would like you to support this thing, and you've not only got to do it with one other person, you've got to do it with at least 4 others.
So it's like being married to lots of people.
It's not that much fun. No, it is a fraternity there's a lot of collegiance going on, and it has to be. And I think that's what makes local government a much more interesting dynamic.
And you also get more done too. I think. I mean, obviously, I have to say there are still very much processes, and I have a friend who had very frustrating experience with the council. This was something I wanted to talk to you about because I think it's very confusing for the general public.
Yeah.
So is council and councillors, obviously they're different things, right? People who work for the council, people who councillors, different things. But I hear so often when people complaining about council, they complain about council. Yes. So who are they complaining about? And let's be upfront here, Team Reilly. Who is really at fault?
I think that you have to look at it not in terms of who's at fault, but how the process works. Being a councillor, it's not too hard for me because I'm a Gemini. I have 2 sides. Being a councillor is like having dual roles. In one sense, you have to be a representative of the community. You have to put the community views and you have to represent them. You have to lead the community to some extent. If you have ideas, you should share it with the community, see what they think and so on. So you are an elected representative, and that is you represent their ideas. That's it. The other side of the role is more like a director of a company on a board. And that is to say that you have to keep the things moving, you have to make sure that the staff is accountable for what they're doing, you have to make sure that the processes are open and transparent, and that the governance and all of that stuff is right, as well as look after the budget and make sure that the people are being remunerated correctly, and that you get the right people in the right job. So it's a dual role. I don't mind it, and when you're there, it does take a little while to be able to see both sides of that coin simultaneously. Yes. One, you're looking after the people and the community, and the other one, you're making sure that council works properly.
And so, for lots of people, I'm thinking when they want to run for council or be involved in council, they feel that they want to make a difference, huh? They want to changing things, right? Do you find that people get in there and then go, oh crap, this is like not what I thought, I cannot make change? Do you feel this frustration?
Look, I've felt it and I've overcome it, because there are ways to overcome it. And if you think that you are single-handedly going to ride in like a knight on a white charger, it's not going to happen. So no matter what you do in council, sometimes there is a downside. And I think that that's part of the deal. You have to show a little bit of wisdom in saying, look, I'm on this side. I know it's not going to be the most popular thing, but for the community in the long run, I think it's best.
It's the good thing. So then in that case, I would say, you know, you can't please all the people all the time. What would be, so what's your song? How are you going to respond to this in song, Neil Reilly?
How am I going to... I don't know. I don't think you can... I'd rather do it in interpretive dance.
Oh, feel free.
Certainly. It's...
Oh, push and pull, and then
Absolutely.
a bit of, you know, a bit of softness at the end.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like this idea, what you say, that, you know, it's about 9 different peoples coming together to find a solution, what is best for the peoples. I like this. So I guess I don't really have a question about that, actually. I just liked it. Well, would you like to say anything about that?
Look, I would. And it's a reality. It's not just a concept, it's a reality. You have to work with others. Now, for instance, with my team, we have Team Reilly. Now, other candidates may have a group. A group and a team are quite different, to my mind.
Okay.
We recruited a team. We recruited a team to get people with a variety of skills. Some of them are related directly to council. Some of them are related to processes. Some of them are administrative skills. There's 2 other things that we've recruited in our team, and one is the ability to share your knowledge, and the other one is for their integrity. This is a small community. People know you.
Yeah.
I go down to the shops, and it takes an awfully long time to buy a bottle of milk.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. People, you know, sometimes they'll say to you things that, you know, may even be a little bit hurtful. You voted for this and I don't think that's right. Well, I mean, even that's helpful in a way, because you think, well, maybe not everybody did like that, and maybe I didn't collaborate enough. So that sometimes you can come back and you can redress that. But it's that integrity thing that people know who you are. And unfortunately, my dad, he was a hairdresser.
Oh, really? Well, let's talk more about that. A barber or a hairdresser?
He was a barber.
He was a barber.
He was a prince of tonsorial artistry.
Oh.
He was
Some fancy words, what I don't know when I know.
He didn't know what they meant either, but he said them all the time.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he said that people would come to his shop. He said they'd learn who's going to win the football on the weekend. They'd learn who was going to win the boxing match, which horse to bet on, who's doing who with.
From the other peoples in the room or from him?
No, he would just talk. He would just talk to. He looked at more as a therapist. He said people would learn a lot when they came into my shop. He said, and, you know, they'd pay me $1, and if they were lucky, they'd get a haircut as well.
Oh, that's very sweet.
But it's true. It's true. And this is a little bit like, you know, people say you're a counsellor, and I say I'm a kind of roads, rates and rubbish counsellor, not one of those ones who says, how do you feel about that?
So, when did you come to Kiama? Tell us a little bit about this.
Sure. Look, I grew up in Sydney.
Which part?
South of Sydney in Kiama. No, in Kiama, in Caringbah.
In Caringbah. Okay.
Caringbah. Okay. And I kind of left home when I was about 16 and went into Sydney. I took up work. I always wanted to work in advertising, and I was lucky enough at that time. It wasn't too hard to get a job, and I got a job in advertising. So I worked in advertising for an awfully long time. In 76, I got married, 1976, to Wendy. And I mean, if I've got an asset, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what? If a man's not saying that about his wife, then I think he's, not thinking about.
He's not married to Wendy.
Yeah, he's not married to Wendy, or to me, obviously.
Absolutely. We had 3 lovely children. They're grown up now. Still the kids.
Do you have grandchildren?
No, we have no grandchildren. And when I mention grandchildren to our kids, they laugh, a hearty laugh. They do. We moved to Canberra for my work, and it was an interesting move from Sydney to Canberra. In a lot of ways, we left behind our networks and so on, and we didn't realise it was going to be as hard as it was. A job came up on the TV when we were watching it down there. It was in Men in Tights, which is I still remember that, and it was for a producer at Channel 10. And I applied for the job and I got it. It meant moving to closer to Sydney, and we moved to Kiama, and that was in about '97, I think.